The DC universe has been changing recently, with Superman's latest cinematic entry from James Gunn currently filming across the pond, and with that I decided it was about time I revisited my own DC universe. For those who perhaps aren't long-term viewers of the channel, last year I released videos on how to make a good DC film, starting off initially with Batman and then progressing with other heroes in that world, such as Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash and Green Lantern, before managing to tie off everything with a Justice League film, where the League takes on Vandal Savage, and in this video I'm back to continue the story with Phase 2 of this universe. So before we get into Phase 2, I first need to recap Phase 1 for those just joining in. We begin with Superman Legacy, where Clark prevents an alien invasion from Brainiac. We then went to Gotham with Brave and the Bold, where Batman and Damian fight against Ra's al Ghul and Talia. We then opened up the Cosmic with Green Lantern as Hal trains Jessica Cruz, and Sinestro falls deeper into darkness. In The Flash, Wally West steps into his mentor shoes as the fastest man alive and takes down the Rogues. We then go back to the Cosmic with the first season of our Green Lantern HBO Max series, where John Stewart comes into contact with other Lantern Corps, including the Lantern Corps of Hope and Greed. In Wonder Woman, Diana leads the Justice Society in a fight against the Nazis during World War II, where Red Tornado sacrifices himself for the good of mankind. Going back to Batman, Death of the Family sees the Joker seek to rid Batman of what he sees as distractions in the Bat Family, and this mostly follows the same beats as the comic, where Joker tries to kill the Bat Family and defeat Bruce once and for all, but it does of course fail. We then go to our third run of the Cosmic side with Green Lantern 2, which sees Hal and Jessica locked in a fight against Atrocitus and the Red Lantern Corps, and Jessica becoming the main Green Lantern of Earth. And finally, we head to Justice League as Batman and the team take down Vandal Savage. After this, the League has gone their separate ways and back to their own solo adventures. As of right now, Bruce is now funding the Justice League, with Martian Manhunter taking the command of the Watchtower. Superman has returned to Metropolis and has now become a beacon of hope to the world. Jessica is back with the Lantern Corps defending Earth, while Wally West has returned to Star Labs, and Diana is currently representing Themyscira in the United Nations. But now, let's look into Phase 2 with these next few projects. So, Phase 2 is going to open with a sequel to Superman, which I'll be calling Superman, Son of Krypton, and sees General Zod return from the Phantom Zone and plans to exact revenge on the son of the man who imprisoned him. This will dive deeper into Krypton's history outside of what we would see in my version of Legacy. Now, Clark will defeat Zod, but will lose his dad in the fight, with Jonathan Kent dying of a heart attack, which leads Clark to believe he can't save everyone. Then we wrap up the Green Lantern trilogy with Fear in Yellow. We see Sinestro and the Yellow Lanterns enslave Oa, and it comes down to the remaining Lanterns of Hal, Jess, Guy, Kyle and John to save the Corps and defeat Sinestro. They win, with Sinestro himself being imprisoned on Oa and the Yellow Lantern Corps themselves being forcibly disbanded. It's after this that we then head back to Gotham with Batman's third movie titled White Knight, which will combine both White Knight and the Endgame comic storylines. Following Joker's disappearance in Death of the Family, we see that Bruce has become more violent with criminals, but then Joker, now known once more as Jack Napier, returns having quote-unquote fixed his mental stability, and it eventually comes down to Batman fighting Joker in the catacombs underneath Arkham Asylum. Joker taunts Batman with the idea of killing him, but Bruce realises that this has been a sick game to the Joker and refuses to kill him, vowing never to break his code. The caves collapse in as Joker is killed for good, and Bruce decides to focus on funding the Justice League as a distraction, and leaves Gotham in the capable hands of the Bat Family. We then move back to The Flash and his sequel titled Gorilla City, when Flash and the Star Labs crew set out to find a team of missing scientists, but come across a group of intelligent gorillas led by Grodd. This eventually leads to Cisco's own dormant metahuman powers manifesting themselves, as he takes on the mantle of Vibe to help aid Wally West in defeating Grodd and his gorilla army. With the League all preoccupied, it's time to introduce some new heroes into the story, and I'll start with Green Arrow. This This HBO Max series will be an extended version of the Green Arrow showcase animation, with Oliver attempting to save the heir of an Eastern European country from Count Vertigo, and Malcolm Merlyn perhaps is thrown into the mix as well. The end of this series would see Bruce approach Oliver and Black Canary, offering the both of them spots to join the Justice League, because that team itself is now expanding. But with Bruce devoting his time to expanding the League, what does this mean for the Bat family? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that is what the HBO Max series Gotham Knights will focus on. With Batman otherwise occupied with the JLA, he leaves Gotham in the care of Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Damian Wayne and Barbara Gordon, with Tim Drake currently elsewhere leading the Teen Titans. With Batman's absence, a lot of the rogues come out to play, including Harley Quinn, Two-Face and Penguin as well. This series would also see Ra's al Ghul return after his death in Brave and the Bold, because Lazarus Pit, as he seeks revenge against Bruce and the Bat family. While the Batcave is vacated, Ra's sends Malcolm Merlyn to hack into the Batcomputer, where he discovers that Bruce has contingency plans for every current member of the Justice League, and so he sends these to Ra's, who begins his ultimate plan for revenge. Moving back to new heroes, we then head to the Teen Titans with their own HBO Max series, which will show what Tim Drake was up to during the events of Gotham Knights, as he and the Titans deal with the demon Trigon. Now, Trigon, being a demon from hell, is a very formidable opponent for the Titans, which is why they call upon John Constantine to assist them in taking down the demon, given that he has a lot of experience with the occult. And now we come to Justice League 2, and if you haven't picked up any of the hints over this video and my Justice League pitch, this movie will be adapting the Tower of Babel storyline from the comics. Now, for those who haven't read Tower of Babel or seen its animated adaptation titled Justice League Doom, the story in question sees Batman's contingency plans for the Justice League fall into the hands of the bad guys, and we know from the Justice League post-credit scene that Batman has been working on contingencies for these heroes. Now, more specifically for my version of the story, Ra's al Ghul has recruited various rogues from across the many cities to aid in his plan. These include Metallo, Mirror Master, Cheetah, who Diana met in between films, and Deathstroke as well, who survived the events of Brave and the Bold. When these plans are used by Ra's, Batman is horrified and sets out to save the heroes, because he's the one who created the contingencies and knows how to stop them. Now, Batman does succeed in saving the heroes, but as a result, a majority of the League has been left inactive due to their injuries from these plans. With the main roster now recovering, Batman is forced to recruit a B team to help him defeat Ra's and secure the contingency plans. And with all the heroes that we've seen across the past few films, I think Batman's got a fair amount of heroes he can contact. And with that, Bruce recruits Green Arrow, Black Canary, Cisco Ramon, Aquaman and Guy Gardner into his B team to help defeat Ra's and the Legion of Doom. So Bruce and this B team heads to the League's headquarters in Nanda Parbat after Raz's own temple was destroyed in Brave and the Bold. And this is where Bruce discovers that Raz has formed his own version of the Legion of Doom, with the villains he used to defeat the other heroes. After a bloody battle which sees Metallo almost dismantled, it comes down to a final duel between Batman and Raz, and Raz almost wins the duel himself, but before he can deliver the killing blow, he's struck from behind by his own daughter, Talia, who we met in Brave and the Bold. Now, Talia has realised her father was truly evil, and only cared about how much power he had. She agrees to take charge of the League itself and keep them away from Gotham for good, kind of mirroring what happened in Batman Arkham Knight in the Season of Infamy DLC. It's here where we would then cut to a few weeks later, with the core members of the League now fully recovered. Batman explains why he created these contingency plans, that if any of them ever went rogue, then the other members would have to be ready for that very eventuality. Diana, who's put her trust in mankind since bridging Themyscira with the rest of the world, feels betrayed by someone she considered a friend, and the others all feel the same except for Superman, who kind of remains neutral to the situation. The League, minus Superman, vote to remove Batman from the team. Before they can do that, however, Bruce decides to leave off his own accord. With Bruce leaving the JLA, he also decides to pull his funding as well, but allows the Watchtower to be kept operational. Eventually, the whole League falls apart in the wake of Batman's betrayal, leaving only Diana and Martian Manhunter as the remaining original members of the team. However, they decide to bring in Batman's own B team as the new Justice League, with Diana acting as the leader and John acting as the mission coordinator. And that concludes Phase 2 of my DC Universe. It actually feels really good to get back into this stuff now, and I hope you enjoyed it. So be sure to keep an eye out for the final part of this series where I tie up the loose ends and conclude this universe, but that might not be for quite a while, because a lot of work does go into creating these kinds of videos. But thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully be back soon with the third and final part of this series. In the meantime, be sure to check out the channel, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. But thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.